Yagoy Olip, Parchuanalin, Jaganan Karwaini, the Kumungan Marshallese Tv, Chonian, Chogain Major Broadcasting and Springdale School District. Ilo Chiponin Rainin, a very petuanar case, Miss Faith Logan, made a contractor, coordinator actually, Jolapur. Coordinator ng NREF Food Pantry o may Perilo Springdale. So I want to welcome everyone once again to Marshallese TV, and with us this morning we have Ms. Faith Laukon, who is the coordinator for NREF Food Pantry, and we're going to be talking about what she does and how that is really helpful to the Marshallese community. So I'll let her speak and say greetings. Tayo ay very lupuan, Faith. Just go right ahead.
Yeah, well, thank you, Anita, for having me here, and it's an honor and a pleasure.
Egarabarte tema lag ilo gartinon showing ilung labang mo na meron parko bado. So my first question is, what is the NREF Food Pantry?
The Food Pantry is a place where people in Northwest Arkansas can come to get food. We have an application online on our Facebook page and on our website, and people will just need to fill out the application whenever they feel the need that they are running low on supplies, and we're here to help them.
So when you say people of Northwest Arkansas, does that pertain to anybody in general, or is it just Marshallese?
Well, we mainly help Marshallese.
Okay.
But we are open to the entire community.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And then Faith kali karege ijin ko jay ujin apply nga nam red survey arami rin nilo Northwest Arkansas ko jay ujin apply nga nam naron putsi bangkain ete mga nabar remajalot aga ngeray ballo ko rabar narong sibang rojet e ko rabalang ng sibang rome rabaray guit elabar teram mani pagi gartinolo an pelak Food Pantry ni ijalage ilmunne laban sibang kayo remajal din kan gay ijalage rabar wor chicken ngan rebelle aga ebiroro lagay retalangan idin me remajal rejalage remajal staff yo NREF, maybe we can talk a little bit about the name of the Food Pantry. And that tayin NREF. NREF in our Marshallese culture is like a vessel or like a plate that's made from coconut ponds. And that is a very special kind of plate that also has something to do with our culture. We have a term called NREF, that which means, translate to English, you have a plate that you share with whoever is around you. So I have a story on that at the end of this. I'll bring it to explain more of what NREF is. When I grew up and saw what my grandmother was doing with the next door neighbor about NREF, the term NREF. So I'll remind me to tell that story when we get closer to the end. But okay, so tell me about services or hours of operation, things like that maybe the community has heard, but we need to let them know again.
We are open on Wednesdays from 9 to 5, and like I said, just fill out the application online. If you don't have access to the internet or are not familiar with the internet, we can help you fill out the application at the Food Pantry. But yeah, that's all you need to do is just fill out the application and then come. There's no appointment necessary. We serve first come, first serve until the end of the day.
Oh, that's good. Eluguni man awa kami where we nam apply by chuno gran rate pelog lo ranin wanje. Siap mijang ko ba ko jaje klen kan application en bo ko marong edal ngani jam in Faith ni chibang yo kan application en am po en marong tabrak menina igudi am. jab ngay chalanga mi internet ano chez e chalanga access dengan computer e chalanga computer mi internet mo mer jab ine bada lo dengan food pantry na inem paid na chibangayo. So maybe the address. What the address? So
we're at 4024 Wagon Wheel Road at the Arkansas Immigrant Defense Office. So it's a big 2-story brick building, and that does not look like a food pantry, but we do have a little space there. But yeah, it's at the Arkansas.
Okay, so Wagon Wheel Road, when it loy, when you I-49, when it exit o dengan lo, Wagon Wheel Road, no, we jam when it evaluate lo building na, but brick building, it jab when yung lalala ko meron ba that jab ano food bank, okay, is there a sign that says Arkansas?
There is a small sign in the front, yes.
What is it called again? Arkansas
Immigrant Defense.
Okay, I'm Arkansas Immigrant Defense. And when Jeff Mijak, Jeff Elig way, and all that pay the gate to and let go, caramel wound friendly to you, man. And when I did Rajang Olive, or many night with you get and Bangai, Chibaragalak food pantry. I've seen also fade one post that you did. It wasn't just, it's not just food that you're serving, right? Would there be times when you have other like I know it wasn't just food that you posted.
Right, yeah, we did have a donation of PPE and hand sanitizer and things like that. And so, yeah.
Yes, so I think that's what I saw on that.
And clothes and
yes.
I mean, people are donating a lot of things. So jackets, clothes, shoes. So yeah, diapers.
Yes, so it's more than just
yes.
Porto ko dyan ijin dan pabo chadiyan da ka lolo chuanan bot pose ke pelen chala lam na kan bayan re food pantry chejba re le dok pa do dangan ke jim le dongan har mi ro re jai gu kjer men ke gen yalap ta da ro me re jele covid jele der aga dan ba chadiyan maybe every once in a while you receive donations like that that or nugum chu jum par PPE mengain mereka balingan and hand sanitizer a mask olive mengain moy jawjim chibaraglak pay chabaya ligi natal pay mengain chabiyan and I have to say this and it's really true for us. Sometimes when we look at those things we were like I'm embarrassed to go.
Yes.
It's like because this and that for whatever reason, but really Emananga chechap ligdi la mana karuta ke ini perge emalanga epo iper ilo ay gujo archenar per ilo ay gujo ejela parajuri ron ejin. Yeah. So anything else that you would like to share about the food pantry?
So we've done several food giveaways and we're having one this weekend, April 3rd, the day before Easter.
Many may pay the kananagare when per food giveaway about 100 baskets, something like that.
We are giving away 100 baskets full of food.
So, there's a rajang ole per nadal echap nej mga awat enej barwar Easter egg hunt enej arene jagilit ajriro chejung rajang ole per nadal echap aglibino at enej barwar games. Right, and then we're gonna have speakers.
We're gonna have speakers.
And it's barwar kanono park na meturin. Jala pariwa kamaralim jap lukun kemi bijadan park na aga yang na wada may alpa Wilson Road. Yal na ngane Down Tyson School of Innovation. Roundabout na ijamay when it park na.
Yes, and we're also doing a vigil for those that we've lost in our community to COVID, and we're also doing a nuclear victims remembrance ceremony as well.
Yes. Parieni na paraura gano dar chala elang iyo go remodalak chorrain kamelimilgo ragar chelet ke rumajal emoy chuanin menin ano chuan ceremony ngan kagay mi rome romijer mo dala jen chorrain kamelimilgain ime chabrein wa tak parain wa rome relgun aurgum chiden poro perme ragar chagugan nang dimijin covid emoy chejilukun raja ngoliban community yin baran chojum ko badok ilo yenin boy ene choni eno me pije glang nga magi jiba ine pagajiri rochibu em karero matailo mancaren pues kemojen talem ko bala gu pendron choni eni naman ngana choni eno ne jaman ngana ro bar rong jage melele ge inchen rudo reinari lo kien em obi jaman bar kebi ene bar kanono sozalina me cherbali e wote raja ngale porren ko ba to lo yenin emoy ijella guni yenin chene bar lale tara ne bar pokchigi lo charbal gainan paid moda jenar kantiru one mala chene bar we're going to break for a moment yum parchabalagdo yum kanono when in food pantry in so don't go away we'll be back.
If you want fast, easy, and affordable service, visit McLarty Daniel.
Keep your vehicle running like new in our state-of-the-art service facilities. We know your time is valuable. Our factory-certified technicians with decades of experience will get you in and out and back on the road quickly. We service all makes and models at our 6 convenient locations in Bentonville and Springdale. Open 6 days a week.
Visit McLartyDaniel.com to schedule your service appointment today.
Being patient and stay put. Don't go away because we're back again for the other segment of Marshallese TV. So Fade is going to explain to us how the food pantry started and what really happened to make that go into effect.
The food pantry was started because of COVID-19. With our folks being sent home and not being able to work, sometimes they wouldn't work for 2 to 3 weeks, even a month. There was definitely a need for services, and we did a survey in the community, Arkansas Coalition of Marshallese, ACOM, as we all know it, did a survey in the community, and one of the top 5 needs that the community expressed was the need for food. Mm-hmm. We did have an opportunity for a grant, and we decided the best way to utilize that grant would be to start a food pantry. Mm-hmm. And that is how it all came about.
Okay. Yung inay one malodom kamalilegi edge garchino eja food pantry agayan re food pantry na yarilo Northwest Arkansas in Jamalelegan Arkansas Coalition of Marshallese agayar kajarpal nanin ACOM ragar karujala chuan survey nga nailale tanmin na ay gujeoare ano dar chalagay COVID-19 egar lukun win level in me egar chino chargar mor chuanar chuan chicken kokon mga chuan kabat ibarungun bakkabat alabangan kayoy rumajala tadaylo Arkansas in which jalagay alakarido COVID-19 ay chedar garjan marungun charbal yumin chilu wigalangan chuan alyang kanagaranangan ni me chap menino daga ragar bar kachito or lalem kachito ko me ragar or kachito korar kanilo survey no matan atan ua kome raga perilo tapai baga wun golalen meni na iguji ni gichien mga mai krane o me raga ledo ngane kam rar marungun kajar balengane jage en food pantry in wen en marungun chibang muni na nagar chino charjarin chen COVID-19 igaman kalabalagon melelege ngan kejrumajal kejang lo no wajar kan join kencongan ceram maniginar okay. I feel like there is so much to offer to the Marshallese community, whether it's in education or health. We see that the community really is open to lend a hand and help us. And it just feels like, in a way, we're home, away from home, but with all the services that they have to offer, right? We're very grateful, and we're really fortunate to have all these services that are offered. Ela ba matan menugo gini me ngan magigi jiba chelgun charam man rumaje rin me perilo no do jargan join. Maybe it's the only region in the whole United States that they admire us. They go, there is so much. The city of Springdale or the Washington County in Arkansas is really doing a lot to help those Marshallese. And it is true. There's a big difference. I've been in I've lived in Springdale, Arkansas for over 20 years, and I see big change. Matan charam manugo in meganan rajang kajang lowi menagainim lo chong anair kayagan kajim narong offer him dito service again ngan kajang rumajaw. Spilen charam mantada yan olive rumaja railo olive enamergain kanialan chibang kainim elang rajidongan chinba. How do you do it? How do you get, funding to do this and that? But all I can say through the grace of God.
Right. And I also like to say, with me working with ACOM, they have done a really good job with, utilizing these services, serving the people in the community, and with the grants that are given, just really putting the people first. And I feel like the community has responded to that. And so I feel, in both ways, I just feel like, we have folks here. It's so different because I was raised in Missouri.
Yes.
And so, coming here was kind of culture shock.
Yeah.
And just to see the openness from the non-Marshallese community to the Marshallese, and then to see the leadership of the Marshallese here, it's been a blessing for my family and me to be a part of it all.
Ejimayan paid kali karwawin gate. Ejalo boy ilan charbali pene kam ilgun lang then go me rekam money. Imeche me jeno de loe parnga kajo jalep chejalo boy ilgun regalo me alaptada kajarbali funding acara managain ngan malago ngan kajo jalep rumajal lo community inim bar kali kar anagar chino move do ngan Missouri boy jo galla dagam rutologi egar dongan argan joinim lo ilipokan wawin gain ejalowi ijala boy I've known Fade for a long time. We were at one time we lived in Neosho in Missouri, and they lived in Springfield. So I can understand what she is talking about. Menoin chamaron pagachil un charaman kajang rumajal en cha pujragar kamululi rojangan charaman gainme joje jitogum lowi. I'm really glad to see her working where she's at, because she is the type of person that always gives a smile, always so willing to help. And she's a very humble person, and I'm just glad that they put her in the right position to help other people. So thank you, Ekam. Kan oliven chibang kainim chijalolo kaminudiin and all that paid by elgun lang menome mejare jabar kalim je komum logo elgun labijo konani. About the word enre, before we close, I explaining the meaning behind the word ENRA, enre, or the plate made out of coconut pond. And in today's term, we use the plate because not everyone can do that, and it serves the same meaning. But growing up, my grandmother would fix breakfast whenever she fixed breakfast, lunch, or dinner. She has a next door neighbor, and they would exchange plates. Like in the morning, my grandmother would uh, pass them whatever they were having for breakfast to the next door neighbor, and they would do the same thing. For lunch, the same plates are exchanged. Dinner, and it's part of the culture. The term enre, pueden lale rere, is to translate it to English. It's like whatever I have, food wise, I share it with my neighbor because hey, what we have to look out for each other. We have to show our love and caring towards each other. So love thy neighbor, just like the Bible says. So we do that in our culture. It's not practiced as much today, but in the past, that was the ritual. And not just when you have breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but if you have special kinds of food that, let's say it's from the outer islands and food that we rarely eat on the main island, they they um, they share it with their neighbor. And that's one of the when I saw the name for Enre Food Pantry, that was the first thought that came to my mind is my grandmother and how that sharing, between the neighbors was, I grew up and I was like, why do you do that? And it's part of the culture. It's you don't do it because you want to, but it is part of our culture to always, look out for each other and pass the plate.
Can I tell a story
Mhm.
about the first time I went to the Marshall
Okay,
Islands?
sure. Go
Because
ahead.
I was born and raised in Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, and raised in this culture. I wasn't familiar with Embre. Like,
Mhm.
what is ours,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how I was raised.
Mhm.
And so the first time I went to the Marshall Islands, I was working in a school, helping Terry Sasser
Mhm.
and then build the school that they were building.
Mhm.
I was just volunteering. I wasn't actually working.
Mhm.
But I noticed when it was lunchtime, the kids would have one plate and they would share it. And they're 5 and
Mhm.
6.
Mhm.
And, they didn't even think twice
Mhm.
about keeping it to
Don't
themselves.
touch it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It was just like everyone come
Mhm.
and they would eat together and share. And it was just amazing for me to see that instilled in them, the
Mhm.
sharing. It
Mhm.
reminded me of, my parents
Yes.
and how I was raised to, one way before, we were introduced to the Marshallese, to
Mhm.
our people, because for the longest time we were the only Marshallese
Yes.
in
In
Springfield.
Springfield, yes.
Yeah, so we didn't have any Marshallese around us. But then whenever we started to gather with Marshallese, I noticed, we needed to share when we had more people coming and
Mhm.
living with us.
Yes.
I had to learn how to share because I wasn't used to
Mhm.
people being in my space. But then,
Mhm.
that's something that my parents showed me, that this is our culture. This
Yes.
is what we do.
Uh-huh.
And we take care of each other. And so whenever I went back to the Marshall Islands for the very first time and I saw that with
Mhm.
just the little kids,
Uh-huh.
it just really touched my heart.
Yeah.
How that's just so
Mhm.
ingrained in our culture
Yes. Mhm.
that even little kids are just
Mhm. And emanan faith kamalili igan sino na nagardalangan majalam charbalilo chuan chugulano chuan palantiram lo anajiri chiririn lag mga rojen mga ipendron okay mga ipendron ban share mga yo kuje rijel lagu na ba echap kuje odmene yegar podo yeah, that's how the culture is. And while we in rain, money the gain armajal, ilo lalero. And I know that nagar like perdigum to tolak Springfield, karere and family in majalijam. Raja mine elak chino idok family member rerim relang dugulo kabiji gunene arai gujin chala share ngai pa space ando rumani jilla gun ba rumi nim ngao da chala ko parri lang to ya karai gujin chala lale rocha eme eno dilo name bi pa en re bujin lale ra ya ko ya karai gujin apply gi term ini ela kartangan majala lupun yilbuk kan waweni na yang mana boy ela gitu ko mela partalar mi ngani pair elgun lo melelinar cibang ron and I don't know nowadays but in the Marshall Islands I've never seen a homeless person that you see laying or don't have a place to sleep they just sleep on the road or the side of the road or anywhere else because if somebody else happens to be in a position like that and neighbors see that oh there's somebody out here that they will go and talk to them ask them and kindly we just even if we're not related people just ask them to come in and eat and ask them where they're from and just get to know them and bring them in welcome them in so that's one of the rituals and natures of the Marshallese culture that I really admire is because of the love and kind that we share among not just relatives it can be friends it can be somebody that you don't know but as they walk by and you're cooking something outside or you see them there's always the term ito kumain come and eat so I was really glad that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have her come in from Enra Food Pantry so we can elaborate more on what that term actually mean and also let the community know about where they're at and the hours of operation and what can these people do in order to receive the services. Enra Food Pantry. So I think we've covered pretty much what we needed to cover. So thank you for your time and for the information that you've shared with us this morning. So ngayon Rome Rajalo, remaja Rome Rajalo show in parrochet, elabar kamulo lwe chemarongin pagjet melele gojen faith lagone omegar. Jolak yen chirigen schedule anime marong kar busy impeu yumidogum chije the jinum kamanaway. Kamaron karu jalak chet melele go rejuchen ijine cherbali. Okay. For now, we're gonna end the show and once again, thank you all for watching. Como molga namigar aloje Marshallese TV.